Okay, welcome back to the Chestnut Conversation podcast for entrepreneurs, where we see cool people sharing their stories, their insight. And today we have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Vince, with a fresh Tips tea. Vince, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I want to thank our sponsor, Drutex Windows, once again, as they help us to make it happen. So we're going to talk to Vince about his passion of making tea, and he's been doing it for years. Mm-hmm. We're going to test his knowledge and we're going to have a championship. Our podcast is sponsored by Drutex. This is why the show is possible. We're very grateful. Custom windows and doors for residential and commercial. So thank you, Drutex. Vince, you love for tea. How did it begin? When did you say, that's what I like?
Mm-hmm. I actually started drinking tea back in high school. It was something that I was looking actually for a pre-workout. I was wrestling and doing football in high school just for sports. And they had us doing 6 a.m. practices, evening practices. Sometimes we'd lift during the day. And basically I was just kind of wanted a little caffeine kick. And in the locker room, people are constantly giving away pre-workouts, C4 and all that crap. And I don't know. I remember I tried a pre-workout once. I felt like I was going to pass out. It was the caffeine was crazy. It just made me feel terrible. And same with coffee. I didn't like the flavor of coffee. And I was actually kind of scared of it because people were use that language of, oh, it's so addicting.
It's addiction.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm I don't want to be addicted to that.
Right.
So I was just okay, I don't like caffeine. My body doesn't respond well to caffeine. And my mom, she recommended I try tea. And it was just standard crappy tea bags that, how every house has that box of tea. Yeah. Just sitting in the cupboard for years. It was that. And so I didn't know how to brew tea, just boiled some water, tossed the tea bag in there, let it sit for hours, and hated how it tasted. It was gross actually, but the feeling was amazing. And so I was just you know what? I'll get used to it. I'll just get used to the flavor because it makes me feel good. So I was I was that guy showing up to practices with a cup of tea and everything. And that was my tea experience basically from high school, so 14, 15 years old, through college and up until 2019. 2019 rolls around, and long story short, I have a rough 2019. The end of the year is just, it's not good. Which leads me to asking myself, if I were to die tomorrow, do I feel I gave life a good shot? I gave it my all. And at the time, the answer was no. I felt that I wanted to do more. And specifically, it's always been on my heart to start a business. So I kind of sat down with my thoughts of okay, I've been told to do business either things that you're really passionate about or something that you're really good at. And I was I'm going to lean into the passions because there's things that I'm good at, but I'm let's see what I'm passionate about, which jiu-jitsu was one of those things. Tea was another. And I was I don't know much about tea, but let's just learn. Let's just kind of see. And I'm I'll go down this path for 6 months. If I don't like it, I'll pivot. Yeah, whatever. I'll just move on with my life. And once I started learning about tea, I was just shook at how much I didn't know about tea and how beautiful of a plant and of a beverage it just is. The cultural aspects, the flavors, the different styles, the functionalities behind tea. I was hooked. That's when I would say the love of tea really happened. It turned from I enjoy this thing to I'm addicted to it.
You wanted to start a movement, you enjoy the tea by yourself, but why not to create a product and share it with other people? Yeah. And like you said, give you best shot, reaching you fullest potential, right? Because we could do a lot of great things, but we don't know until we try.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And actually Fresh Steeps started, the first 2 years of me starting this project was a blog and a podcast. So I was just I want to educate myself so deeply about this. And basically as I'm learning, I just want to regurgitate that information out to the world. Because I especially here in America, no one knows about tea.
No, it's just that's not a thing.
Sweet tea. Yet. Exactly. I like that. And so I was cool. I want to be that bridge in the United States for people to understand how amazing this product is. And so that's why I started off just educating. Just basically, like I said, I'd like learn about a new tea and I'd order it, try it out, like drink it for like a week, 2 weeks. And then I'd like blog about it. I'd podcast, be like, all right, this is my experience. This is what it tastes like. I hate this. I love this and stuff like that. And after 2 years of doing that, people are like, yo, you talk a lot about tea. Why don't you sell it? And I was like, I was actually worried I didn't want to get into physical products at the time, but that's for other reasons. But after you hear that question enough times, you're like, all right, what am I doing? Like you gotta start like listening to people. People trust you. Like you've become a trusted source now for this tea information. Why not lean into it and actually deliver on that?
So your background, you went to university, right? Mm-hmm. What was the degree and like how did it play out?
Yeah. So I got a chemical engineering degree.
Okay, so we could brew.
So it's I have found ways to correlate it to the industry that I'm in now. I got chemical engineering with an intention of doing something in like water treatment or energy, and like two things which I still love, like learning about like new energy, like nuclear power, stuff like that. Obviously very different from where I'm at right now. But I worked in that field for the first 5 years out of college. And now obviously being a little bit different, there is correlation though, because I like to say that when I was like looking into these teas, something that I was extremely interested and intrigued by is the functionality piece of these herbs and of the teas. And I'm like, why does tea make you feel so different than like coffee, than other caffeinated beverages and stuff like that? And so I would dig into like the chemical components of these things and start to understand these. So it was cool to have like that chemistry background to actually understand the mechanisms of what's going on. But even building the business, it's like now I'm able to scale things up proportionally to like what is necessary, which chemical engineering, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's like all you're doing is taking like a small scale lab reaction and you're scaling it up to mass produce millions, billions of pounds of whatever reactant you want or reagent you want. So that's what I'm doing, is just now it's just a lot simpler than all the chemical reactions that you learn.
That's amazing. Like it's all played out well for you.
It has.
Like, who knew, right? I mean,
I definitely
everything
had no
happens
idea.
for a reason, and you did that.
Yeah.
And so canned tea, like market for it's. I would say it's a sports drink, isn't it?
Because the fresh steeps or tea in general?
No, your tea.
Fresh steeps, yeah. So
do you call it a sports drink or something else?
I don't actually call it a sports drink. I refer to it, I basically just tell people it's canned tea. At the end of the day, that's all it is. Because some people get a little like, they're like, what is it? Like, what would you compare it to? Like, is it a Red Bull? Is it like, what's it like?
Could you call it healthy energy drink?
You could. Now I stay away from that too, because it's like the red can over here, Recover, has no caffeine and there's no like energizing properties to it. But like the green can, Energize, has 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is comparable to an energy drink. And it all comes from yerba mate green tea, just natural, clean sources. But it's really, at the end of the day, it's tea that's been brewed with intention. So the intention kind of being like rejuvenate, energize, recover. You're going to have like those kind of allude to what that intention is. But at the end of the day, it's going to be just an extremely real, delicious, authentic cup of tea that's convenient and easy to just to grab and go.
So we got 3 colors.
Yeah.
That's all your babies, right?
All my babies.
And which one is your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite.
You're not supposed to ask that question.
I was like,
favorite, right?
cover their ears or something. No, my favorite is Energize. That actually was the very first one. Yeah, that was the very first one that I formulated too.
Okay.
And actually it was funny. It was when you ever have like those shower thoughts and stuff. Yeah. Like this was a shower thought. The tea blend was yerba mate, and the shower thought was actually Warrior's Boost, which is what the tea blend is here. Cause I started off by formulating, loose leaf tea blends. And so it was Warriors Boost was the name that came to mind in the shower. And I'm like, oh, I got to do something with that. And so I like got out of the shower, like started, just like wrote it down real quick. And I'm like, what does that mean? And yerba mate came to mind like right away, which if you're familiar, are you familiar with yerba mate?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. So yeah, it's South American for people who aren't. It's a South American beverage that, it kind of is like a green tea, basically. It's a little smokier, a little bitter, but highly caffeinated too. So it was like that. And then I was like, what partners well with that? So citrus came to mind. So that's where you're going to get some citrus notes of orange peel, lemongrass, lemon juice in this. There's honey in it for a little bit of sweetener, but I like the caffeine kick too. It's 150 milligrams of caffeine. It's just good. That's just clean.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And it smells really good too. Like,
yeah.
So you got Brazilian and you got Japanese in it.
Got it. Yeah, exactly.
So you got judo and jiu-jitsu.
Judo and jiu-jitsu. That was not like being a jiu-jitsu practitioner. That was actually not an intention.
Not intentional,
but it happened. And I'm like, and I remember the day that I like remembered that. I was like, whoa. I'm like, that's perfect. Cause yeah, you have the Japanese, you got the Brazilian, bring it together. What do you have? You have jiu-jitsu in a cup.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Jiu-jitsu in a cup. I remember like when you started and you had the tea in the bags and it was really good. I was using that. And then you're like, well, you should try it in a can. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. And how is it going, scaling up and, share it with more people?
Yeah.
I've seen you got some good news with, big retailers. And could you share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild ride. So like I said, 2019 is when I started this project. But now being 2025, it's been a crazy just over 5 years now. And like, I would have never been able to project, like if you would have asked me 5 years ago, if this is where I thought Fresh Steeps was going. No, absolutely not. So that's just been super cool to watch kind of it happen the way that it has. But getting into some of these, like I said, I guess I'll even back it up a little. The creation of like the cans, it was something that I, like you mentioned, I started by selling the loose leaf teas and offering that to people. And what I noticed is, again, here in the United States, people don't gravitate towards that. Just
time.
It's time.
You have to make it. You have to brew.
Exactly. Exactly. And even though it really only takes like 5 minutes out of your day,
but everybody's in a goal.
Everybody's in a rush. And the thing was, people really enjoyed the flavors. Like if you remember, like I would show up to jiu-jitsu with my big growlers of tea, and I'd just give it to people like after class because it hit so nicely. And people always were asking me like, can I buy that growler off of you? And I didn't feel comfortable doing that because it would go bad. And it would grow like, who knows, like what kind of bacteria, because there's a little bit of sweetener. I mean, loose leaf tea is not clean and stuff like that. So I was like, I can't let someone get sick because of me. But again, it's like one of those things where you just keep hearing the same question, or people keep asking you the same question over and over. And you're like, okay, this is clearly a sign to do something about it, which, so I started down the path. And again, I look at this and I'm like, God's hand has been like on this business because how things have played out. Like I met a guy in a parking lot who his job was canning products.
And you just met him?
Just met him in a park. I was literally walking around in a parking lot, handing out loose leaf tea samples to people. Cause I don't know. I was just like, I got to get the name out there somehow. So I was just walking around downtown Minneapolis and just handing out tea samples. And these two dudes, chilling in the car, they're like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, so I like walk over, smile, and just like, hi. I give them the spiel of what Fresh Steeps is. And I'm like, you guys want to try some? And one of the dudes, he shout out to Folly Coffee. If you've ever heard of Folly Coffee, Rob, amazing. He was one of the dudes. And then Brandon over at my now current manufacturer, he was working at Big Watt. There was those two. And so Rob's like, oh, I own a coffee business. And he's like, we should connect sometime because coffee and tea makes sense. And Brandon's like, yeah, if you ever want to brew or like can your teas, he's like, we we do that. And so at the time I was like, nah, I don't want to, I don't want to. It wasn't like a, oh yes. It was like okay, I'll get your contact info. But I was like, no. Then 6 months after that, maybe not even, maybe like 4 months after that, I was at the World Tea Expo. And that's when it hit me. Like I was like talking, I was like looking kind of around at like the different people, and everybody there was selling loose leaf tea. And it was like good, high quality, single source, single origin loose leaf teas. Which, don't get me wrong, I love that. Like that's like, if you go to my house is just filled with like those really nice single source, single origin teas, but that's not what I sell. And like, that's not what Fresh Steeps is. I've always thought of Fresh Steeps as trying to be a bridge to people here in like the United States who don't typically gravitate towards that, but they like the fun, funky flavors that Fresh Steeps is. And then they start to look and they're like, oh, this has pu'er in it. What the heck is pu'er? And then that gets them maybe interested, and then I can connect them with those other awesome sources. But that's when I realized that I was like, I need to switch up my business model. Like this needs to shift to that convenient, like who is my target audience? It's not these people. It's not the people who are drinking single source, single origin teas. It's the Americans who want that convenient, fast, awesome option. That's when I made that shift, and I came home and I called Brandon. I'm like, hey man, can we get a meeting like as soon as possible? And he's like, yeah. He's like, next week, let's do it. So I was like, great. So I came in and I had,
what's the time frame was from like when he told you about him and until you call him?
So that was when I met him, that was probably August of 2022. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the World Tea Expo was like March of 2023. So yeah, like 6 months or whatever that is. And so I call him right when I get back, and I'm like, hey man, like let's meet up. And he's like, great, come on in. He's like, we'll talk about it. And I come in with like mason jars of just liquid. Okay. And I'm like, how do I get this into cans? And they're like, we've never had anybody come with like liquid just ready to go. I'm like, yeah, like, I'm there already. I'm like, you just do it. Yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go. And so they were like, great, awesome. Like, what's your timeline? I'm like, this is my first time ever doing something like this. So I'm like, is 6 months crazy? And they're like, no, we could probably do that. So I was like, okay, sick. So I was like, I would love to get this out. Actually, it was quicker than that. In my mind, I'm like, if we could get this out by like July of 2023, that'd be awesome. Cause I'm like middle of the summer.
You could start selling it.
Yeah. Amazing. I was like, exactly. So I hit the ground running. And I started working with a designer. I'm like designing the cans. She crushed it, as people can see.
You could tell.
And started getting like all the pieces in place, except I was struggling to raise funds. I had no idea like what to do.
It was a big investment. I would think.
Yeah. That first initial production run, it's just a lot. There's a lot into it, whether it be the design of the cans, the actual ordering of the cans. And then there was a little bit of formulation cost because there were tweaks that I didn't know about that I actually hired some people to help make sure that they were going to be shelf stable and like be able to be on the to exactly the specs that the FDA needs, that all these things that I just didn't understand.
But did you have to fight these people? Like, let's put some chemicals in it so it stay longer. How did it go?
Yeah. So it was actually easy. So again, my manufacturer, they actually have a guy who helps out with that. So that was just a little bit of an added cost at the front end, just to make sure that we were hitting all those things. And I told them, I'm like, I want to maintain the cleanliness of the products. That is, the quality is like number one, because as the quality starts to go, I'm like, that's just not my brand. That's not Fresh Steeps.
What's the point? So, what are we doing here?
Exactly. Like, I'm like, I want to promote a healthy lifestyle and stuff while also maintaining a convenience. And so that's what I tell people. I'm like, this will be the cleanest canned beverage that you're going to find on the market. And I tell that, and I'm very confident I can say that, like whether it be the sweeteners being honey or maple syrup, whether it just be the loose leaf teas, they're all organic. Now I can't really label it as such because again, the FDA likes to charge for every little thing that you put and say on the can. Yeah. The FDA is like, whoa. What are you doing over there? It's like, give us a little cut to be able to say that. Yeah. So it's ridiculous. That's again, side note. Yeah. It was just like that process. Cause I started like reaching out to people, trying to figure out how to get this money for months from again, April of 2023. is when I was starting that. And basically I was ready to go by that July, August mark, except for the money. I just could not get the money for the life of me. And this is actually where, on a completely side note, like not even regards to business, but in regards to just like where Vince was like in my personal life, it was 2023 was also a really rough year for me. Just mentally, I was going through crap basically. And, but I had like kind of a bizarre, like almost like supernatural type experience where, again, very long story short, I went through like a radical, like, basically faith journey, or spiritual journey on like during that summer. And I actually, in about September of 2023, I didn't want to do Fresh Steeps anymore. I was sick and tired of it. I was like, you know what? I've been so selfish with this business. Like I was building the business with the intention of giving myself like glory. Like I'm like, yeah, like Fresh Steeps is going to be amazing. And everyone's going to know Vince for that. And I realized I'm like, oh, that's gross. It felt gross. It felt very selfish and very just like not authentic to who I was and like what I kind of had been going through at that point. So like I said, I now I have a strong faith in God where I was like, all right, God, I'm done with this business. It's yours. I don't want this anymore. Basically, if you want this business to go, awesome. Like give me a sign that like this is something that is still meant to be in my life. If not, destroy the business. Destroy it. I'll figure it out. I'm like, I have a chemical engineering background. I was like, I'll figure out something, whatever, we'll make it work. And no joke, like 5 days later, I get more than enough money for the business, like to launch the cans. Like all of a sudden I get a phone call from the guy I've been working with. He's like, cause I remember this was like about a month before. He's like, yeah, we're trying to work with this bank. And he's like, gonna be on, he's like, I just don't see how this is going to work out. And then in 5 days he gives me a call. He's like, hey, good news. He's like, we got approved for this. And I'm like, no way. That's like, it was enough to get the first production run, actually the first 2 production runs if I wanted, plus some. And so I was like, holy crap. I was like, all right, I'm going to take this as a sign, God, that we're going to move forward with this. And since then, I don't want to say like business has been on easy mode because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But like kind of having that, again, having like my faith that God's hand is over this business and like pushing it along makes it easy in a way, in a sense, like mentally, it makes it easy just to show up, to be excited, to like walk into rooms and be like, hey, this is a product that I'm extremely proud of. Like I've poured my heart into this. Here you go. And whether you like it, whether you don't, no problem. Like I'm not gonna be upset like at the end of the day because I love it. And that's like I said, I officially launched these in April 15th of 2023, right? Yeah, because we're in 2025 now. So no, sorry, 2024.
2024.
Yeah.
So it's just the babies.
Yeah, this is still a baby. So April 15th, 2024 is when I officially like had the cans in my hand, which was a special day, obviously. And since then it's like, yeah, I know going back to like your original question of like getting into some of these like larger retailers and some like partners, whether it be like Hy-Vee, Kowalski's, some of the co-ops around town, it's been easy. It's been like this like weird, like I would have never expected, like I just have these conversations and people are like, yeah, we'll give you a shot. Like, absolutely.
Really?
And no questions really, like no tough questions. Now granted, there's been like Kowalski's, for example, they were given a little like left jab, like left hook, right jab and stuff like that. A little bit of pushback. But they did finally, we're officially on the shelves at Kowalski's, and I'm excited because they actually were like, nah, the product's not good. Like
they said
that. And I was like, okay. I'm like, good. I like to prove you wrong. I would love that. I would love to prove you wrong.
Did there is a label? What's inside?
Yeah, man. I was like, it was weird. It was a weird process, but you know, again, you can't.
So you had tastings done at Kowalski's and so you proved them wrong, I assume.
Yeah. We're proving them wrong. I was like, literally it's been on the shelves now for 2 weeks. The first weekend that we were on the shelf sold out. So I was like, excellent. Like, that's all I wanted to prove to them. Like, listen, it's going to sell. It's going to move. Just let me show up. Let me share a little bit about the story. Let people try the product ultimately, because that's, at the end of the day, you just need to try it.
You need to try it.
You need to experience it. And the product sells itself. Like, once you try it, you're going to realize, oh, this tastes healthy. This tastes clean. But it's like, you know, people have this assumption like it tastes healthy, so therefore it's like you kind of sacrificing flavor a little bit. It's like, no, you're not going to sacrifice flavor. It still is a yummy, delicious beverage that also, it's okay. It's only 30 calories, all coming from natural sweeteners and stuff like that. No crash. I don't know.
So you did the first run, and how did distribution at first? I mean, I've seen you cans all over jiu-jitsu gyms in town, but how else did you, and how long did it take you to get it sold out?
Ooh, I actually don't know if I have...
Just roughly.
Yeah, roughly. It was probably because after I had like the cans in hand, I would say I quickly got my first 10 customers. Mostly they were relationships I had already built, like some of the jiu-jitsu gyms, some of the other like local gyms just around town of people who knew me. And I was like telling them like, hey, I'm going to be launching this. Do you guys want in, like right off the bat? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Give us product. So I was blessed to get like my first 10 customers within a week or two. But that being said, it probably took about 3-4 months to actually sell out completely of the first production, maybe not even. And, I remember, it was April, and then my second production run was August, like very first week of August. I was looking end of July, early August. So what is that? April, May, June, July. Yeah. So 3 months. 3 months to get that first.
That's exciting.
Super exciting. Super exciting. Cool. Yeah.
So Vince, let's play a game.
Absolutely.
We're gonna play a game, and I hope you do good.
Oh, same. This is what I'm nervous for now.
It's about tea.
Oh goodness.
Not only tea, but some other stuff people do put in the tea. So I'm gonna tell you the name of ingredient, and you're gonna say yes, it is in my can, or no, absolutely not.
All right.
And depends on the answer, we'll give you points or half of points or whatever.
Okay. All right.
And those ingredients, I had to go shopping yesterday. So I went to the shelf with canned tea, and they didn't have any fresh tips tea.
Oh, it's a shame.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to name the store. It's not Kowalski's, because they do have it.
They do have it now. Yeah.
But it's too bad for them. They lost.
Yeah.
So I put it down. So first one is called zinc gluconate.
Can you repeat that?
Can you read it? And
zinc gluconate. Yeah, no, that is not present.
Okay. Second, sodium polyphosphate.
No, that's not present.
No, you're not putting
none of that.
Okay, so you get 2 points.
Yeah.
Okay. How about sodium alginate?
No.
How about calcium lactate?
Ooh, no.
No. Okay.
No.
How about acetylsulfame potassium?
It's a hard no on that one. Yeah, no.
Okay, it's getting worse. Like, I ranked them and those were the good ones. Now we get to the bad ones.
Oh, okay. Oh goodness, we're gonna fingers crossed.
This one is called aspartame.
Aspartame.
No. Okay. This one is like kind of phenylalanine.
No.
No, okay.
No.
And obviously high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup. As much as America loves it, no, it's not. It's not going to be. 20-0. Vince now is a champion, and let's go.
We're gonna give him the certificate. So it's called Ultimate Tea Champion, and he's there's lots of divisions.
Unreal.
There's a green tea division, black tea division, herbal tea division, and he's the absolute division champion. So
I don't know.
He's the number one. Here we go. Yeah.
That's unreal. I don't know.
So you're gonna get all the bragging rights right now.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to cover. Yeah.
It's like, you did really good. I know those are hard words.
Those are. I was like, yeah. Do you have a chemistry background?
No, I do not. Dude, but this doesn't sound too good.
This is so as you asked and as I shared, I have a chemical engineering background, and I look at some of these ingredients that you see in these canned beverages, and even with a chemical engineering background, I have no idea what some of this stuff is, and I'm like, that's messed up. Like that's
Like,
really not okay. And even some of the stuff that I do know, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense as to why
cost, profit.
Like, no. I mean, I get it. Again.
But why would you want to put it in your body?
Right. It's so upsetting.
But like I said, at the grocery store I went yesterday, I didn't find any clean tea.
Yeah.
That were canned and had the good ingredients.
Right.
None.
Yeah.
Zero. Like, you know,
and like, this is just an awesome opportunity just to really share about that, because that really is the heart and intention behind this, is just to give people that convenient, clean option. And I will keep harping on that till the day that I die. Yeah. And that is something that I just never want to sacrifice, even if it's, and there's this weird thing in the world where the cleaner a product, the more expensive a product. And now this is still comparable price wise. But that being said, it's like, I just don't like that. Like, why? It's because like you get
people trying to squeeze every dollar.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting in my opinion. But again, that's a whole other podcast episode. We could talk about the corruption in the food system.
Today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Vince didn't come empty-handed. He got a gift. We're not going to tell you what it is. You have to watch to the end, and you have to write a comment. So there's 3 colors, 3 flavors right now. You have to write a recommendation, inspiration for the new color and new flavor. What do you want from the tea? Like, what flavor do you want? And the best comment will be picked by Vince, and he's gonna get that gift. So
we'll see. So
stay to the end, and you should comment, and you should win.
Amen. Yeah.
I want to talk about business.
Yeah.
Like you have a degree in chemical engineering, but running a business, what was the hardest part? And what was something like almost stopped you from doing like that? If there was any like obstacles on your way, like, you know what, this is like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, except when you,
except for like
you want to give up.
I was going to give up for not business reasons or anything like that. That was something. So like you said, I had a technical background, and luckily my first job, being in the water treatment field, like I had mentioned in power industry, it was as a sales rep. And the cool part about that job was my territory was Minnesota, the whole state of Minnesota, a little bit of Wisconsin, a little bit of the Dakotas too. Okay. Basically what my boss was instilling in us was, hey, this is your little company within the larger company as a whole. So therefore, it's like, treat it as such. Like, yes, you're a sales rep, but you have to make sure that you're hitting these certain numbers, that you're actually like kind of you're making like a little bit of a healthy business. You're constantly growing year over year and stuff like that. So that was, again, it's so weird when I look back, it's like how everything just kind of plays perfectly into it. Those 5 years working with Ecolab were business training. Like, that's how I see it now, is it was teaching me how to build a business on, like, with the assets of a giant business funding me, and like not only just the education as well. So while I technically don't have a business degree or like anything like that, having that background, it just lent itself to helping, at least kind of with that mindset. And don't get me wrong, like there have been times where I'm like running through the financials of Fresh Steeps, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. And again, luckily God has blessed me with like such a cool network of people who do have MBAs, who are business, or who have built and sold multiple businesses already. And so I have these people to bounce ideas off of. I've been like, hey, I like would write a break-even report or something like that, send it to them back. Does this make sense? And they're like, just looking through it, they're like, yeah, it looks beautiful, looks perfect. I'm like, unreal. Like, and it's like, and it's just like one of those things where I'm just have this mindset where I'm super curious and I just want to learn as much as possible. And I'm just going to like, when I like start to dedicate and like focus on like a single task, so like whether that being building a break-even report or something like that, just as an example, I'm just going to sit until I understand it. I'm just going to focus on it. I'm like, okay, what do I need to, even if it's just basic levels, I'm going to either focus on that, like, and watch like YouTube videos. And that's the beauty of like the age that we live in. YouTube podcasts. There's Alex Hormozy, a guy that every entrepreneur should know at this point. Yeah. I do treat him as a mentor, even though he has no idea who I am and maybe never will. But it's like the business knowledge that he puts out in the world is literally like priceless.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And so just like consuming his content, listening to these people who have done it. You start to find when you've done it for long enough, like when you've listened for long enough, you see the patterns. You see, it's like, it doesn't matter what business that you are in. There is this foundation, this formula that every business needs to follow. And I wish I was like good enough to like actually like lay it out right now, but I'm not. I'm still learning. And that's unfortunately just the thing where I'm still learning. I'm still doing it. I'm still growing into that. And that's what's been happening over the last 5 years, because again, I'm making it sound easy and good right now, but these last 5 years have been rough.
Nothing but easy.
Nothing but challenging. I mean, it's just been like the doubt that I just constantly was having for the longest time. Those first 3.5 years, nothing but doubt. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say there was ever like a point where that would have stopped me. Like going back to your original question of like, without having the business degree, was there like a point where I was going to stop? Like, I always knew like, whether that be like a logistical, like, all right, finding a manufacturer or finding the logistics of delivering product from point A to point B, that stuff never would have really stopped me.
There's a problem, there's a solution.
Because I'm like, people have done this before. It was the doubt and like what the hell am I doing? Like what? Like I quit my job. I gave up everything for a tea company. Like it's so silly on paper. Like you look at that and like it was just like, that's what would have, if anything, what would have stopped me, was just my own self giving up on that, on the vision. And trust me, there were plenty of times throughout those 3.5 years of growing Fresh Steeps where I sidestepped and I started building other businesses. And because I was like, there's more money in like real estate, for example.
Yes.
So as you know, so I'm like, why not just do something with real estate? And so I started going down that path for like 2 months, 3 months, only to like get this deep burning conviction of like, let's go back, like maintain the course, maintain the path. This is the way. And I couldn't tell you why in those moments that I got those convictions, but I did every single time. And trust me, I could probably double digits, like 10 times where I would sidestep, see a shiny new object, which as an entrepreneurs, that shiny object syndrome is real. And I would go and I'd be like, okay, maybe this is the path. Maybe Fresh Steeps wasn't it. And I'd go and sometimes it would lead me down for months only to realize, what the hell are you doing? Go back. And sometimes it would be a day. And like now I'm really good at it where I can like quickly be like, yes or no. Like I see something, someone offers me an opportunity and I'm like, does that align? No, but that's because I'm clear with the vision. I'm clear with the path, but it took me again, 3.5, 4 years to get clarity and that was just, it was just brutal. And there's really no solution except just keep going.
Just keep going. Just keep showing up.
Just keep showing up. It's just like jujitsu.
Keep grinding.
Just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. And eventually something happens. Something happens. And and thank God for this one mentor of mine. Dude, I don't even know how we met, but I think we maybe met through church or something. And he told me, I remember him, like one of the first meetings that we had, we were sitting down and he was kind of just sharing about business, like just big picture stuff. And as I was listening, I stopped him. I'm like, so Ryan, what you're telling me, and I'm like, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that when you say businesses have failed, every time like you've talked about a failed business, it sounds like just the CEO, the founder, whatever, stopped showing up. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, so if I just keep showing up, the business won't fail. He's like, yeah. Okay. I was like, I could do that. I was like, I've done that before in life. Just keep showing up. Just doesn't matter what. Maybe even if you miss a day, okay, that's fine. Show up the next day. It's a new day. Show up the next day. And like that, in those moments of like doubt and everything, I was just like, nah, just show up. Like yesterday's yesterday, today show up right now. Like in this exact moment, show up. And so that's what just kept it going. And like, once you kind of like burn the bridges too of like the past, I also like, I was like, oh, it'd be so embarrassing to like go back now to like corporate.
Guys, that just didn't work out.
Yeah, dude. And trust me, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I applied after I quit my corporate job. I applied to a few more corporate jobs after that and just got this deep burning shame. I'm like, oh, you're going back, dude. You're going back. And then I was like, no, like, and I was so glad like none of them responded to me. I'm like, no, we're not going back. Keep going forward. Keep going forward. Yeah.
Because from outside, it could look like, well, Vince, we're like selling, tea in the bags, and overnight, boom, he's selling at Kowalski's from outside. But what sounds like it was a lot of work, it was a lot of education behind it, and it was a entrepreneur community, like you said, you could bounce your ideas off, and also having mentors that really helped to make it happen.
Yeah. Mentors are cheat codes. And I would say I've been blessed where I haven't had to pay anybody to be a mentor. Paid mentorship is beautiful though too. I totally would. Now knowing the power of mentorship, to pay someone is, again, it's a cheat code. It might, like, let's say you pay someone $10,000, theoretically they should be giving you like a 10x return, like on that. Like you should be getting something like that if it's a good mentor.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So there's power in that. And again, I've just been blessed with people who've just been generous
with their time,
just generous with their time, generous with their knowledge. And there's something to it where when you start to achieve these levels, like people come to me and ask me questions and I don't feel qualified still. Like I still feel like a baby in this game. But I see someone who's just starting out and I'm like, oh yeah, here, have all this information. I'm like, this is where I was. I'm like, please don't suffer for 3.5 years like I did. I was like, if we can narrow that down to 6 months of suffering,
why not?
Amazing, fantastic. So yeah, if anybody's ever curious or like has that inkling of getting a mentor, do it. Like that's so valuable.
Yeah, it's amazing to have an abundance mindset. Yes. Saying, well, if I share something with you, it's not going to take anything away from me.
Correct.
It's just going to create more opportunities and more wealth or whatever it is for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. The idea of like all ships rise. Like, like that's, I constantly think about that. It's even like other canned tea beverages out there, while they're quote unquote competitors. First off, I really feel like Fresh Steeps is in a market of its own. And that's like, again, at the very beginning of this conversation, when you ask like, well, what is this product? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's very challenging I'm still learning how to tell people because it is a unique product. But other canned teas, like, and that's why I've just boiled down, like, it's canned tea. I don't see them really as competition because I'm like, you know what? If we can get more people just to enjoy tea, awesome. Then we're all going to be winning here. We're all going to be growing and prospering in this conversation or in this market, in the whatever it is. Cause like, again, because I'm so unique and like all the other canned teas are out there, a lot of them are unique to their own, whatever they've decided to create. Cool. Like that's beautiful. Unless someone decides to make an exact replica of this, then I'll come at you and then that's a little different, but it's like,
they won't be able to.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you have education, have a background. Was it going to come out and do exact copy? No. It's not going to be as good as yours.
Exactly.
So they're going to be behind. They have to come up with something else and do something different.
Right. And like, that's where, again, I have that confidence where I'm like, no one has the 29 years of experience that I have with this. This literally is a manifestation of my 29 years of experience. No one can replicate that. Exactly. And that's, and that should be, if you ever create a business, that should be how the business is. It's you in a product, in a service, whatever that is. And that's why, like, I'm just confident. I'm just like, it's easy to show up. It's easy to wake up in the morning and just like, it's another day just to share this. And like, I'm happy for that. I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, you said you're part of the church and you would like to give back to your community. And I know you just went to Turkey. Could you please tell us about like why you went and what did you do? And,
Literally just got back 2 days ago from Turkey. Unreal country. That country is beautiful. Like not just like the landscape, the people, the culture, the food, the tea culture there. I was like, that's a whole nother like subject that we can dig into, but they're constantly drinking chai, as they call it there. And, it is so beautiful. Like to have that opportunity to go out there was remarkable. And so, yeah, I did go with my church. I go to River Valley Church, and it was one of those things where I really love, what I love about that church is they have a global heart. They like to see where the need is in the world and go and support. And whether that be support financially, whether that be support in sending people and just like being there and like literally just loving on people like who maybe don't like are going through it like right now. And that's basically what we did in Turkey is like, we had this opportunity to go. We went to Istanbul and we also went to Hatay, which is in the southern part of Turkey near the Syrian border. And in the last year or two, they experienced an earthquake down there that just ravaged the city. And for reasons above what I understand, they haven't had the support to rebuild to the point of like where they were prior to the earthquake. And so a lot of that area, they get support from the local churches as well as the global churches, River Valley being one of them, to actually help rebuild. So what we did is we went down there and we basically just loved on the people there. We were only there for like in that area for 3 or 4 days. So that's like, I mean, like you hear that and you're like, oh, that's like no time to do anything. And which is
unless
true.
You do something meaningful.
Unless you do something meaningful. And like,
then it's
exactly. And like every moment that we had down there was extremely intentional, and we got to just interact with the locals there. And again, like I just keep harping on this, like we just got to love on them. We got to pray with them. We got to give them some hope of like, hey, life's okay. And to be honest, they were some of the most joyful people. It's amazing. And like, I've been talking to a couple of friends of mine since I've come back. It's crazy. You go to a place like this who experienced something that, God willing, I never have to experience like an earthquake in my life, like that ravaged so many people. And the amount of people that we met who lost family members, who lost like one of the families we met, they lost their 4-year-old daughter. And it was just like the amount of hospitality and like love and just joy that they still have. And we show up there and all they're doing is like basically just hanging out in their yard, drinking tea, playing, like the kids are all like on the street playing soccer, and just, they're so welcome. They're like, come on, like come in, sit down, eat like this freshly baked goods that we just made and that we've been slaving over. And just like, tell us like about your life, and just like, I don't know. And it was just it's so beautiful. What's unfortunate is like going out there, it like reminds me of like, unfortunately I see like so much, I can't think of the word, like not ungratitude, but like this feeling of like not enough here in the United States, when it's like,
we need more.
Right. And like, again,
I can't be happy because I don't have enough.
Yes. Yeah. And it's that reminder of like, no, they're happy to be alive. Like right now, like one of the families, like the mom she's battling cancer right now too. So it's like, not only on top of the fact that they just go through like this massive earthquake that destroyed their home, destroyed their family, but she's also battling cancer. And like, God willing, she's actually right now, she's going to be in like a week or so getting her final PET scan to hopefully show that she's cancer free. So it was like just beautiful to be there. She's the one who's like serving us these freshly baked goods, serving us tea and everything. And we got to like pray with them. Like, and just, it's just beautiful. It's just a reminder of like, no, like they get it. Like this connection with family, with friends, with whatever, that's
important.
That's important. That is what this life is about. It's not about building businesses. It's not about these things. And so having that experience, like, again, the people were just remarkable. And I will say, like, the food, incredible. I had food poisoning the first 2 days there.
Oh,
I was devastated.
Airport food, or it was local food?
It was airport food. I got it on, I think, on the airplane.
Too.
Yeah, I think I got it on the airplane. So don't eat the airplane chicken or whatever. But I got wrecked, and I was so worried. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to enjoy the tea out here. I'm not going to be able to enjoy the food, because Turkish food, I've had the opportunity to go to a bunch of different countries now. Italian, Argentinian, and Turkish food are top 3 in no particular order, but like those 3 countries know how to do food. And let me tell you, like, Turkish food was so clean. We got like fresh fish, fresh calamari from the Mediterranean. Literally the hotel owner, he was like, go out that morning, catch it, and then that would be dinner.
Cheers, calamari.
Oh, so good, dude. So good. So, yeah, but just going, and like, it was a quick trip, only 10 days, not even 8 days. And that's including the travel time. So like 6 days of like actually being there, being with the people. But it's just beautiful. It's just it's a short trip, but you will never, and this is another thing I've taken away, from these trips, is that you can never beat showing up and being somewhere in person. There is just a power of like having our physical presence in a place. There's like, God works with that. Like, and he works in such beautiful ways. And like, even if it is a small moment in the grand scheme of time, there's power in that. And like, that's something, like, even if it's just a moment, I like, those moments will live with me forever. And I know they'll live with some of the people I interacted with down there forever too. So I just encourage people to just travel with intention too. Like, it's fun to go and travel and just for like a mental break and physical break, but like, I feel revitalized coming back, and I'm like, I just want to love people more. I want to do more, like, for people, and like remind everyone, like, hey, this is what life's about. Like, sharing, like,
get connection with people.
Yeah.
Meaningful connection, not just like transactional, but if you've done business with someone, like, you want to have a relationship,
right?
And don't chase just the profit or make a quick buck, but just build a relationship, and money will follow. It's not as important as having a real connection. Right. And like, that's, I think words are powerful. And that's why I think when I am talking with a new prospect or someone who I would like to sell my product, I truly see it as a partnership. And I tell them, I'm like, I always make sure, I'm like, this is a partnership. I want to, and if it's not making sense for one of us, for either of us, then we'll end the partnership. But at the end of the day, I'm like, because it's a partnership, I don't want to be just a vendor to you guys. I want to actually like work with you. How can I help grow your business while also promoting Fresh Steeps? And just because I know that as I grow their business, like you said, money will follow. All that stuff's going to just come naturally. But when you're so hyper focused, which I have been hyper focused on money before. And that's like when I was going back to it, like, I was so selfish, like trying to glorify Vince, trying to get more money, like all this stuff. And that was when Fresh Steeps was doing the worst. It was a dumpster fire of a company. But then it's like, I switch the mindset, I give it all back to God. Like, even just, and it's like, yeah, I kind of like, just like metaphorically and like spiritually and physically kind of give it all back to God. It's all of a sudden things start to prosper, and there's this abundance that just kind of naturally happens with that, which is so beautiful. Like, it's so turned around, like, of how it quote unquote should be, in my opinion. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So Vince, what do you got as a gift for the listeners? I mean, we're blessed. So our guests, we don't give them gifts. They give us gifts, which we share with our listeners.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I guess, can I get up real quick? Absolutely. So we have a lovely variety 4-pack of the Fresh Steeps canned nitro teas. So we got our Rejuvenate, Energize, Recover, Masala Chai Blend, Citrus Yerba Mate Green Tea, Hibiscus, Ginger, Elderberry blends.
That's so cool. Guys, you don't even have to go to Kowalski's to get it.
No.
We'll deliver it to you all you have to do, write a good inspirational comment with a new flavor. So
yeah, that is one of the most common questions is like, so what's next? What's the next flavor? And actually I'm not gonna lie, I've got some ideas. I've got some ideas of the color schemes. Actually, that's sometimes how I start. I get inspired by like what color would look really nice, and then how would that flow from there. So I'm open to, please comment like a color that you think would be beautiful to join the family, in addition to flavors. Like, cause that's something too, where I just kind of formulated these flavors, to be honest, kind of selfishly. Like this is like what I drink at home, but at the same time, people kind of gravitated towards it. So it's like, I want to hear like, what are the flavors that you guys gravitate towards? And I will do my best to formulate a clean, healthy, delicious, functional type tea, and actually a function too. Now we're throwing so much at them.
Like, you know what?
It's like any of those options.
That's an amazing gift, and we'll deliver it later.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to stop talking now because I'm just going to keep asking for more information.
Yeah, we'll take anything. So another thing, like it says nitro tea.
Yeah.
Like, what is nitro tea? Like, is it a marketing gimmick or is it a real thing?
Yeah. No, and actually thank you for reminding me and this is where there's so many like little details in these cans that make it so different of a product than you'll find around in any other canned tea. So nitro tea simply refers to the fact of, instead of it being carbonated, which most everybody's familiar with a carbonated beverage, especially in cans, they're dosed with liquid nitrogen, which gives it a silky smooth texture on the tea. So as you just experienced, you're not going to get that carbonation.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's going to be a smoother, almost still like tea. But actually, if you were to have like still versus nitro, you'll notice there's actually a little bit of a difference. But the reason that I did this is for a couple of reasons. One, when I was formulating these, I noticed, so I first started by carbonating them. The carbonation, for some reason, took away from the flavor. I noticed that like, you're not getting as much of like the honey or the citrus or just everything felt a little muted, if that makes sense. And so I was like, well, that's unacceptable. It's not good. So I was like, well, let's try it out. And with nitro, because my manufacturer was like, we could try this. Like, I've never seen a nitro tea on the market. And I'm like, I don't know. And actually, I did in Colorado once. We were driving up into the mountains and we stopped at this restaurant, and we were getting breakfast burritos. And I saw they had on tap a nitro green tea. And I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I'll try it. It was disgusting. Hey, I tried it. I was like, this is gross. I'm like, no one, like, okay. I was like, in my mind, I remember saying it that day. I'm like,
why? Yeah,
no one should ever do nitro teas. Like, keep nitro for Guinness, keep nitro for coffee, something like that. But here we are, a year into this process now. As I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is really nice. So one, the flavors are still maintained. And if anything, I think the flavors are enhanced a little bit, but that could be a psychological thing. It doesn't actually do anything to the flavor per se. It's more of a texture thing. Two, and this is kind of a selfish thing too, but a lot of people have told me they're super grateful that there's no carbonation in it, because carbonation for me bloats me. Like, it makes me feel gassy and stuff like that. And this just doesn't do that. You're going to have them very smooth. It's going to be gentle on the stomach. And especially for like athletes like ourselves, going back to, it's not really a sports drink, but it can be a sports drink. This is great before or after jiu-jitsu, or before or after like a sauna session or a run or something like that, where you're not going to get bloated from like the carbonation, but you're also still going to get these yummy flavors and textures and all that good stuff. And then, that was like, those are the big reasons. Some common misconceptions about nitro: it doesn't do anything to caffeine. It doesn't boost caffeine, right? Because everyone's like, ooh, nitro, that must like be extra caffeinated. I'm like, nope, it's strictly a texture thing.
Just another healthy way to enjoy tea.
Exactly. And like, so if you were to shake up like a brand new can, shake it up, especially if it's cold, and pour it into a glass, you'll actually get a little bit of that cascading nitro effect that you do on like a Guinness. Again, I say that a little bit tongue in cheek because Guinness gives you like a thick, creamy head on it. You're not going to get that with these. It's going to be very small. It's going to be very, very subtle. But you will notice it if you do shake it up and pour it into a glass. But again, that being said, it's very, very subtle, very gentle.
Yeah, Vince, you got really cool product. I'll tell you the story. Like when I get it at the gym for myself, my 12-year-old daughter, she's like, "Hey, get me a steep tea. Like, get me like I like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could give it to the kids. Like you have uncaffeinated version of it, and they could enjoy it. Like even like being young kids, and there is no bloating, nothing. So and you feel good about it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, kids. A lot of parents, they stay away from the caffeinated ones, which I mean that's up to you as a parent. Probably should, but as the kids have enough energy as it is. But the recovery, no caffeine, and again, clean ingredients. I mean, who plays a game? We know we played the game. Exactly. You had me worried. Like if you're like, we're going to play a game in the middle. I'm like, whew, I don't know about this. I'm getting stressed over here.
No, you have so much knowledge about the tea and like having so much knowledge that you build up for years doing blog and tasting and sharing it with people, going to the business and using that as a base. This is really cool.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's, I don't know. I thank you. That's really all I can say is just, it's been fun and we're not done yet.
So Vince, what do you do for fun? Like what are your hobbies? What like
this is like a little softball. I was like, my hobbies. It's a trick question. It's a trick question. Jiu-jitsu is the main focus outside of business. Just the addicting. I mean, we were talking about it before getting on the podcast of how painful of a sport it can be, but at the same time, like how addicting it's so rewarding. Fun. It's so rewarding. It's, as I've explained to people, I'm like, it's such a beautiful representation of life. Like just the jiu-jitsu journey is life. Like it's just an exact copy of like the ups and downs of just,
man, it's hard
of life. It's hard. It's a hard journey, but it's so rewarding. Like being on that journey, being able just to suffer a little bit, but also have that camaraderie with like the teammates and everything. But also just like to battle with your teammates and just, I don't know, man. And also it's fun to kind of be like a little bit of a ninja in a way
well, it's how you market it to people. Right. Say, hey, we were in pajamas and we hugging us as sweaty men. This is like, or you could say ninja. You probably should say ninja.
Probably. I was like unless we're trying to gatekeep it, then yes, we hug sweaty men.
Or women sometimes.
But mostly men. Mostly men, yeah, exactly. It's fun, dude. I love jiu-jitsu.
I love it because I think it's, like you said, there's a representation of life, but also it's like helps you in a business.
Yeah.
It's hard, people trying to do things to you and you don't need to panic about it. You just, make a decision one step at a time and just, or 2 steps at a time.
Yeah.
And I think it helps.
Yeah, dude. No, when like one of the hardest things that you've done for the day is fight Efim over here, or just like I guess I shouldn't even say fight, like prevent hopefully Efim from choking you out or something like that. It's like, life gets easier. Like life is like going into a business meeting, going into like other things. You're like, it's so much easier than having to fight these people like off your back or something like that. There's just something where, you're just calmer. You're calmer in situations. It gives you a confidence, like just to like, not even just like the confidence of like, I know if something like were to happen, I can maybe do something.
Like, no, but you don't get to fight in the real world anymore. So it doesn't even matter. Exactly. It's just like, well, it's hard, but did you die? No.
So exactly. So I don't know. I encourage everybody to just try it. Try jiu-jitsu, try a martial art, but there's some fake martial arts out there.
Yeah, and there's some martial arts that kick you in the head, actually.
Right.
Striking martial arts, I don't know. You have to be really tough to do that.
For real. Like I've undiagnosed a couple concussions from football that I'm like,
enough?
I don't need to get kicked in the head, punched in the head. Like I'll just do jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Where did you go to school?
I grew up in Chicago.
Chicago,
Yeah,
okay.
Chicagoland area. So northwest suburbs of Chicago. So I went to University of Iowa is where I went to college, but yeah, northwest suburbs of Chicago. So
Did you wrestle at the university?
no, I wasn't. I was actually really bad at wrestling.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I don't believe you.
dude, I was so bad at wrestling. I don't know. That was one of those things too, where I like look back, I hated wrestling in high school, but it was one of those things where I told myself, you're doing this all 4 years. Like I remember like when I signed up, you are doing this all 4 years. And so it was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm just
Discipline.
yeah. You just show up. I sucked though. I was really bad at wrestling. That was
better sports too, man.
that was so embarrassing. Like some of my most embarrassing moments come from, I feel like the wrestling mat, like competing in wrestling. And
But
stuff.
wrestling in general, like they put you those singlets, what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing.
You could be really good at wrestling, but you put the thing on, it's like, come on.
So, and like me, I felt like I didn't hit puberty until college. So I was just like a pudgy little kid getting pinned and stuff like that. It was so embarrassing, just so bad. But I am beyond grateful. Like that past Vince just kept showing up and doing that, because again, that's like, it was just a representation of like, I can do hard things. I can do things that I don't want to do. Like you just show up and you just do it. And like watching people quit, and I just like,
I'm not a quitter.
yeah, I was like, I don't want to
so
do
cool.
that. I don't want to do that. It's just, that would be more embarrassing to me than getting pinned a billion times on
the singlet.
Yeah, in a singlet, which trust me can be one of the most embarrassing things.
So Vince, thank you. It was a pleasure to have you on podcast. And if you haven't heard about Fresh Tips yet, you did now. So there's no excuses. You have to go to Kowalski's or Hy-Vee and get it for yourself, or you could write a comment and we'll deliver it to you. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank our sponsor, Drutex Windows and Door, premium producer. The special showroom is coming up in Chaska and should be open in April. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it was fun, you know.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I didn't know a lot about your stuff that you shared today. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dude, this is fun. This is good. I love this opportunity. And like I was telling you before, like very professional. You're crushing it. But this is just, I don't know. It's just good just to be able to share the story.
Yeah, I feel like there's like market for beverage in a can is unlimited.
Yeah.
Right? You look at all these companies, Monster, Red Bull. What if you take like 1% of that market? And like when you take that percent of their market, this could be huge. And it's like, and you could feel good about the product because you put the good stuff in it. Like if you're like, well, what I got? Brew tea infusion, reverse osmosis water, hibiscus, ginger, lemon peel, elderberry, honey, lime juice, salt, ascorbic acid. So basically just the vitamins, you know what I mean?
And the ascorbic acid is just vitamin C.
Pretty much. Yeah. So like people take multivitamins. So it's like, that's like really cool.
Yeah.
Super excited.
No, I appreciate this, man. It's been, I don't know.
People just need to try it, you know.
Just try it,
like once you try it, like this is and like you're doing the tastings at Kowalski. I think this is huge,
dude. Yeah,
this is huge. Like if somebody like give it to you, like, hey, try it, and like, this is good. Mm-hmm. And like
and that's why I do them. Like literally is because I just need to show up and just. I know that if I show up for a year, 2 years of just giving free samples, eventually it's just gonna like take off.
Yep.
And it's just going to naturally, again, people are going to get addicted to it and they're going to be like starting to tell other friends, other people about it. And I'm slowly starting to even see that. Like, it's fun, like kind of watching people come up to me on the street, even in Minneapolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you face all over Instagram.
Right. Yeah. Yes. They actually know me and they're like, Fresh Steeps. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Yeah. Because they don't know my name. They're just like, you're Fresh Steeps though, right? And I'm like, I am. Yeah.
That's why we put it on a certificate.
Yeah, exactly. AKA Fresh Steeps. I love that. I might legally change my name to Fresh Steeps at this point.
Like, why not? No, this is pretty cool. And like doing a product you could be proud of because like you could sell like stuff that like compromise, like, as you know, it cause cancer, right?
Trust me, I've gone down some paths, like I told you.
Like if you have a vending business, right? Vending machines.
Yep.
Right. So what are you going to put in it? It's going to be high corn fructose syrup.
Yep.
It's going to be really bad for you. And the drinks and a lot of sugar. It's going to be chips. That's not going to be a healthy option. You have a like chocolate bar. Like you can eat that. This is not good for you.
No.
Like, and at the end of the day, like, are you going to feel good about what you sold people? Like,
right. And like, that's, yeah.
No, you won't be feeling good.
No, I constantly like go back to that. Yeah, exactly. Like, can I confidently hand this over to someone and know that like what they're putting, like this is going to make their day a little bit better.
Right.
And like this experience is going to be a little bit better. Whether that be just because it's good tasting and they don't even know about the healthy stuff that they're putting into their bodies. Awesome. Or just because like they do know about that. Yeah, it's just, but I can confidently do that.
And like you put so much work in it and you have knowledge and you give it to somebody and he's like, he tries it and like, I don't like it. Well, that could happen, right? Because
all the time, yeah.
And it's like, well, that's fine. Like, but I didn't give you like shit product.
Right.
I give you good stuff. And if you don't like it, that's fine.
You don't like it, yeah.
You try another flavor and then you like it.
So then, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It's, I have had people spit it out in front of me, which has been kind of funny to experience. But
so we're going to try another flavor, hibiscus tea. So I had some caffeine and now need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll do that and we'll have it on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite.
The hibiscus?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why. I like sweet stuff.
Yeah. So is it sweet to you, or because a lot of times it's
because it's sour.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's what it is.
Yeah, that catches people off guard.
But in my mind, it's sweet, sour, sweet. I don't know why, but it's kind of go together.
No, it's I warn people a lot of times that it's more sour and tart than it is sweet, because people see the beautiful like red crimson color that it is, and they're like, oh, they're just like, that's going to be super sweet. And it's like, whoa, no, if you're expecting that. I think in my opinion, the sweetest is the Rejuvenate. It's got maple syrup as the sweetener, so it's a little bit more sweet in my opinion.
So how do you source your ingredients?
I source through a middleman out in California who gets it from all over the world. So like the hibiscus comes from Egypt. The mate in this one comes from Argentina. The pu'er, the black tea in this comes from China. And so it's like every ingredient I try to get from its country of origin. So it's like the ashwagandha comes from India. The green tea comes from China. I mean, yeah, US, there's some things like ginger comes from the United States, orange peel, United States, but kind of just depends.
Like I wish everyone get to experience, create something that you could kind of like, wow, this is, you know, comes from the heart and it's all good. And like, then the world will be a better place.
Amen. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That we need more people just to pour their heart into something and then deliver it to the world. That's going to be a game changer. Cause like if you're working that monotonous, I don't know, job that's just sucking your soul kills you. I mean, it's like, it's important to have people to be able to keep the world moving in a way, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like we got to change it in some way. I don't know what that looks like though. Yeah. It's tough. It's a tough thing to understand.
They say like when you get older, time goes faster, right?
Yeah.
And the reason behind it, because you're doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And it's like in your brain just going to autopilot.
Yep.
And you just don't pay attention. And you blink, it's Friday. You blink, it's Friday. Blink, it's another month. So when you do something cool, like new experiences, like you went to Turkey and you said, oh, it's been just 10 days. But those resets, 10 days felt like a month or 2 months to you, because it was all new people, all new experiences, and it's going to leave lasting memories, like you said.
No, it's so true, because
you put so much more time into 10 days.
Yeah, literally. It's that's why travel is so important. It also just it expands your mind as to how other people live.
Be like, open-minded.
Yeah.
No, that's how we do it over here. Everybody should do the same. No, it's not how it works.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. Exactly. No, it's I don't know, but I agree. It was just crazy because it's already January 30th. It's like, oh my gosh, we're already done with a single month of 2025.
2025. Oh my God.
Insane. I know I'm turning 30 this year, and that's I was like, ooh, that's fun.
Oh my God. I turned 40 2 years ago.
I turned 40. Oh, I love that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to like 38 and be like, I just turned 30 8 years ago. Exactly. Oh man. No, but that's, the future's fun. Future's exciting. A lot of good things coming.
I mean, like you said, you never imagine like you're going to have what you have
right
5 years ago. Mm-hmm. But think like, what's going to happen 5
years
more
from
years?
Now, right?
I mean, it could be wild.
Dude.
And I mean, I have wild imagination. Sometimes like, well, I think this is going to happen. And I know it's going to play out this way. Yeah. And then times pass by. I'm like, wow, I really came short on my prediction. Like I should have been more generous. Like, what could happen?
Oh, dude, like that's where like I've allowed my imagination just to get crazy. Like
and you should. Absolutely should.
Yeah, it's because it's exactly like why not? If other people have done something, why can't I? Like why can't you? Like and
I have two hands, right? I have head, like I have two eyes, like I have a brain, right?
Right. So this has got a little bit of the nitro effect on it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a Guinness.
Yeah, exactly. The nitro comes through on the rejuvenate really well. And if you want some of that one, but no, dude, it's I look at some of these crazy people. Now there are some things like I've made the decision I will never do, even though I know it's humanly possible. Like the guy who like free solo, like Alex Honnold, like free soloed Yosemite Mountain or whatever that is, like in Yosemite.
No.
Can I do it? Is it physically possible for me to do it? If I train, yes, question mark.
Should I do it?
But I will never do that. Like I will never, ever, I have no desire. That scares the heck out of me. Would never do that. But then like, you think about like, I don't know, something that I'm kind of on a path. I'm like, I could do that.
You could scale up your business.
Yeah.
You could be like national drink.
No.
I mean, you could have a commercial on Super Bowl. Like
that's
exactly.
One that I kind of hit me a couple months ago of like, that would be something cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And I told everybody that I would never tell anybody. I would just let it happen. Like all of a sudden you just see Fresh Steeps pop up as a Super Bowl ad. And I wouldn't tell a single soul about it. And then just like getting texts like and calls like, bro, what? And I'm like, I don't know. Just happen.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Yes. But like that is something that, I mean, again, like there are certain things I'm confident will happen. I don't know. And there's I'd like to keep some of those things to my chest of like, I think like this is something I'm casually working towards. I don't think I'll tell anybody though about them. Yeah. But like, that's like kind of one of those where I'm like, ooh, that'd be a fun one. Like just to kind of do one day, just drop that in Super Bowl 2027.
Yeah.
2 years, that's crazy. But why not?
Who knows?
But why not? Yeah. Who knows?
If it's not too like, if you set your goals really high and you like fall short, you don't accomplish.
Right.
But like what you're going to accomplish is still going to be much higher than the most people goals. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Well,
Absolutely.
we came short, so what? Like, you know what?
Exactly.
You set another goal.
Yeah, exactly. And the beautiful thing about something like that is, okay, let's say you go for, please. If you go for a timeline of like super, just because we've been talking about it, like a Super Bowl commercial by 2027. And then it's 2027 rolls around. It doesn't happen. Well, guess what? It can happen in 2028. It can happen in 2029. It can happen in 2030. It can happen
or Vince, you could have a completely different goal.
Or
like, you know what? Super Bowl is old news.
Yeah, exactly. And I have that practice of like writing down goals at the beginning of every year. But one of my favorite things that I've learned is to recap and like to revisit those goals from the year before. And like, I get to see all the ones that I thought I wanted and that I'm not like, I don't even want that goal anymore. Like that's in the past. Like I don't want that anymore. So there's something important about setting those goals, but not being married to them.
Yeah.
Like that's where I've like learned, I'm like, this is where I think, but ultimately, and that's where I trust God. I'm like, God, you know what's best for me. So you're going to guide us to that point. This is what I think. And like, that's what I love about like, he's like, yeah, you can think this, but in reality, we're going this direction. And I'm like, and as long as you like trust that and don't force it, it's gonna work out.
Yeah. But it still requires showing up hard work,
Yep.
and all that, but
Yeah.
anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
One of my mentors says, you could have anything, but you cannot have everything.
I like that.
Because you have 24 hours a day and you could focus on certain things, but we're going to come short on some other things. So you got to figure it out.
And there's a superpower in that focus. If you can focus on one goal
Yeah.
and just hyper focus on it and cut out all the crap, that's scary. Someone who is like persistent and focused,
Unstoppable.
that is a scary person. And that's where it's like I do have like those kind of, I have like certain categories in my life where it's like, yeah, like these are pretty much the lanes I'm just going down now. And like, I don't know, like nothing is really gonna, that's why, like I said, I have that focus so that when new opportunities come up, I can just filter it through. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going. Does it make, like, is that helping or is that taking away from it? Okay. If it's helping, yes, I'll do it. If it's taking away, no, I'm not. It's very easy to say yes or no, but yeah, it took a while to start to get that clarity.
There's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of noise. And being young entrepreneur is like, sometimes it's hard like to figure out, is it good? Is it bad? But like I said, answer the question. If it's aligned with your goals, if it's good for you, then yes.
Yes.
If no, just no. Just say no.
Yeah. But how did you feel like you gained, like, I'm guess backing it up one question, do you have that clarity of like what your vision or what your goal is?
Yes, I do, but it changes from year to year.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to stay on the same path.
Yeah.
And to build off what I have on my background. Like, you invested so much time in IT, and like, well, this is how I'm gonna channel, and it's my vision to stay in that business. My background, construction.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay in a path where I could use my knowledge and my skills to build something with that. So I was flipping homes, doing remodels, building homes, and now I want to build a commercial. And while building, I faced few problems like, it's hard to find the good windows. Like, where do you find the good windows? And is it reasonable? This is how we started the company, distribution windows of Drutex. And I'm like, okay, it's a great product, good price. I feel good about those windows. Let's sell them.
Easy.
Same goes with the cabinets. Like, well, where's the good cabinets? Like, where's innovation? And we found a producer in Lithuania. Like, let's do cabinets. So it just comes natural. I don't know, and it aligns with what I want to do. Yes, I don't have a desire to scale up my building company, but I have a desire to scale up window company and a cabinet as a supplier. So like, we're heading this way right now.
Yeah.
We'll, revisit our goals in a year. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But you never know. Like,
right. And like that goes back to it. It's like not being married. Like, who knows? 12 months from now, you might have that desire to scale everything up.
Yeah.
And
like see. If I go back 20 years and I say, well, this is where you're going to be. I'll be like, no way, bro. Like, no. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Then I go 10 years and like, still no. And even 5 years, like, no. Like, everything is changing,
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. Oh, dude. It's so exciting. Life's so exciting.
Yeah, life is exciting. Life is fun. And having hobbies is important. And,
that's what keeps you sane.
But hobbies have to be healthy and they help you.
Of course. Yeah. Again, aligned with
what you are.
With like the person like who I like there's a saying of like be, do, have. I don't know if have you heard that before? So it's time. Like you need to first be in your mind and like in your spirit the person that you want to become. And then once you be and you like have those thoughts, you start to naturally do what the person, like what you're telling yourself, like who you are. You start to do those actions and actually start to put that into practice. And then after long enough time of doing and being the person that you've said you are, you reap what you sow, basically. So it's like, if I say that I am someone who goes to the gym every single day, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. Okay. Am I a jiu-jitsu black belt right now? No, I'm not. But what would a jiu-jitsu black belt do? Well, he would show up. That's pretty much like all you have to do is just show up and like train jiu-jitsu. So it's like, okay, am I doing that? Yes or no? It's very clear. Yes, I show up. No, I don't show up. Okay, cool. Where do I need to adjust? And if, again, like for me, I'm only showing up like 3 days a week right now.
That's
4
a
days,
lot.
which I was like,
If you tell somebody like, hey, I have a hobby, I do it 3 times a week for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot. Like, no, that's not
it doesn't feel like a lot, but
You know
as
what I
you know,
mean?
yeah, that is crazy.
Put it in perspective. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. But yeah, so it's like, okay, am I doing it? Yes, I'm doing it. No, I'm doing it. Can I do it faster? Yes, I can do it faster. But then faster means you're sacrificing other areas too. So it's like, that's where I play this game of like, yeah, where am I allocating my time? And then eventually I will be a black belt. If I just keep doing those things that I've said, like I've told myself I am a jiu-jitsu black belt. Why? Because if I just keep showing up, eventually I will be a jiu-jitsu black belt.
If you train, like,
okay, cool. One day I'll look down and I'll have that black belt. Sick. Awesome. So it's just that, but you can just replace that example with everything, like for Fresh Steeps, for your real estate company, for your construction company, anything. So, but the thing is too, if you're not intentional about that, if you're not conscious to that, that's where it gets scary. That's where it's like, ooh, what are you just kind of naturally falling into? Are you naturally falling into sitting on the couch and just watching Netflix for hours? And then, okay, so that's kind of what you're doing, but who is that like aligning with? Like, is that aligned? And that's where people get stressed and anxious, is because in your mind, you might tell yourself, well, I'm a hard worker. And yet you've sat on the couch for 3-4 hours every single day, every single night. I haven't like worked on my side hustle. I haven't gone to the gym in the last like week or two. It's like, well, your thoughts and your actions aren't aligned. And then that's where anxiety and stress really starts to like get built up. So once you start aligning those things, oof, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful place to live in. Like once you're who you said you are and your actions, oh, that's where life gets, that flow state. And then again, just give it time. Just keep grinding, keep showing up, keep doing those things. And eventually you'll acquire whatever that is. And and sometimes you acquire it it comes in a different form than what you thought. And that's kind of the fun part too, is like you thought you wanted whatever,
but you got something else.
You got something else that's actually better. And
I want this.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is much more beautiful. Like much more, I had no idea. But I think like even the things that you'll acquire aren't even that are ultimately the best are the intangible things like peace and just confidence and comfort in situations. Like you can just confidently show up to a place. And that's where it's like my faith has become such a stronghold for me, is like having that faith. I can confidently walk into places because I'm like, oh, God's already ordained wherever I'm going to show up, God's hand is over that situation. I'm confident of that. This conversation right here, I didn't need to know. People are like, oh, did you get the questions before? Because I told a couple people that I'm going on this podcast. I'm not the only questions anybody is. And and I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, like, you know, I'm like, what? I'm talking about my life. Like,
you know your life. I was like, you know your stuff. Like,
exactly. You know what I mean? And I'm like, at the end of the day, if he wants to throw hard hitting questions, great. I love that.
I tried that. I tried. It was a game. I failed. So you won.
the game. Yeah, I know. I was like stressing, man. No, I'm kidding. But no, that's, like when you have that confidence, and like, that's where, again, for me, I read my Bible daily and stuff like that. And it's like when you read and believe the Bible, it makes it extremely clear that God is with you and he goes before you. And it's like, oh, the God who created all the universe cares enough about me to be with me here in this conversation oh, okay. That's cool. I can feel very comfortable in like pretty much any situation then.
I love what you said about do, have. Yeah. Because people say a lot of stuff. A lot of people say a lot of stuff. But you could tell and you could see what they do, because actions speaks for themselves.
Correct.
Like if you say, hey, you know what? I'm a kind person. You know, I'm such a good guy. And you see you do something that doesn't align. They're like, well, you know, you're not.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're not.
Or somebody say, hey, I'm really grumpy and I'm really mean, but you could see this person doing, kind gestures all over. Like, no, you're not bad. You're good. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So little actions I see people do, like, you're like, well, yeah. That's a good person. Like, good person would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I've been on the opposite side of that, where I've said certain things, but like behind closed doors, I've done other things. And
we've done it.
We've all, I mean,
like
if
we're
you're
humans.
Yeah, exactly. If you say you haven't done that, you're like look in the mirror. Come on.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I still do it. I mean, to this day, still do it. But there is, that's the beautiful part of like, you have an opportunity then to, if you're conscious to it, all right, you can switch today. I forget who this is. I'm blanking on who said this, but I love this quote of, you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I forget who said that, but that is ringing true in my mind all the time of like, oh, I can, like, who I was yesterday, who I was today, even, I don't have to continue to be who I was 30 seconds ago. I can make the change literally right here, right now.
Right now, and just be a different person.
You don't have to wait till the new year to have a New Year's resolution. You don't have to wait for those things. You can just do it. Just do it right here, right now. Make that switch in your mind. And then that's the B part. Okay, I'm making that switch. Now, who would that version of Vince, what would he do? Would he do whatever? Insert like this.
Would you put, what is the name?
Would I put sodium?
Phenylalanine in the tea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Someone who wants to portray Fresh Steeps as a healthy company, would I switch all of my sweeteners to high fructose corn syrup? No, I wouldn't. Cool. So I don't do it.
Yep, that makes sense.
And it makes sense. It's like easy. It's like, would I do this? It's like a if-then statement for if you have like a coding background or anything. It's like, if I would do this, would it, like, no, like,
simple.
It's super simple. So
simple, but hard.
Yes. And that's life. Life is simple,
but it's hard.
It's hard because it's showing up and just doing kind of the same stuff. The right thing. You're constantly making that decision of like right versus wrong, and what is right versus wrong. I mean, we all have different filters of that.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like, say, hey, it's black and white. Sometimes it's not that simple.
Sometimes it's not.
No, it was fun having you on it. And I feel once people try it for themselves, it's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing a great job with the social medias.
Thank you.
You put stuff out there. I've seen like you got some silly videos from jiu-jitsu, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
people need to see it. And you shot some commercials. I've seen that, like that professionally.
Yeah.
Could you tell about that? How the experience was?
It's actually like the fun part is these are just people who it'd be so unexpected. I've actually had an opportunity to work with like professional level studios and stuff like that.
Very professional.
But like, I think the one that you're referring to, is it a coffee shop kind of scene?
Yeah. It looks very professional.
Dude, that's just a guy from church. It was just,
really?
Had no idea. He's like, hey, I shoot photos and sometimes I do videos. Would you ever be interested in work? I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. I was like, let's do it. And then like, I was completely hands off for that. I think I was like I had a couple like meetings and sales calls or something that I had to attend to, but they're like, hey, I trust you guys. Go do it. They sent me the video. Like they're like, all right, this is what we shot today. I was blown away. I'm like, this is stunning. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I said, I've had an opportunity to work with high level, like truly professional level stuff. And I'm like, this is of equal caliber. And you're just a dude who's just like, I don't know. So again, super blessed to have that opportunity, super blessed just to have the opportunities to work with all the people I've worked with. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, that's one place where I realize I am not good at. And like, that's something that we all have to be, very aware of, is where, like, for example, the designing of this can, I'm not
You
good
would
at.
do something else.
I
right?
would have destroyed because I like the loose leaf teas I designed myself, and they were just trash. They were really bad.
They were not that bad. We're not as good at this.
I was like,
This is way better.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And like the beautiful thing is like the girl who did this, it's her side gig. She doesn't even do this full time yet. Yeah, no. And as Fresh Steeps, she's done a few other beverage companies. As Fresh Steeps blows up and those other companies do, yeah, she'll get a name for herself. Her name's Emma Smith. She doesn't even have like a
shout out to
Emma
Smith.
out Emma Smith. It was like we could tag her Instagram or something. But I was like, I'm good at sales. I can good at formulating good tasting products. But like the social media stuff, there's so many better people than that, or than me at that. So
Vince, I'm gonna rate your babies, which is my favorite.
This is nerve-wracking.
So we got 3, and I'll tell you which one is my favorite.
Yeah.
So my favorite is still this.
The Recover.
And the reason, because it's a flavor, it's a little sour, and I love it. And I don't know, I have a weak spot for the sour stuff, and this is perfect. Second, I'll put this, and it tastes good. It smells good. Might be not as tasty as this one, but I love the marketing on it.
Yeah.
Like, you got Brazilian tea and you got Japanese tea, and, it's just martial arts. Like, this is number 2, like, and you get caffeine, right?
Yeah.
So this is like healthy energy drink.
Unreal.
And I also love this. This is like your sweet stuff, like you said.
Yes.
If you used to sweet stuff and, didn't want to get that high corn fructose syrup in your body, just take this.
Yeah.
It's such a good healthy alternative.
Exactly. I like to think of the Rejuvenate. I think of it as like an afternoon pick-me-up, something like after lunch. You just want to like sip on something. It helps with a little stress and digestion with some of the herbs that are in it. And it's just like a little sweet treat. Like you said, it's got ashwagandha and dandelion root and ginger. Yeah. So it's really nice on the gut. It just like
cinnamon and clove and ginger.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate that. It's so fun hearing everybody's reactions to the teas. Cause like you said, like first off, they're so different tasting, completely different experiences. Yeah. So, and I want that to be a staple in like all of the Fresh Steeps flavors, especially and even going forward, because I want them to have their own characteristics, be their own personalities. Whereas like a lot of canned beverages, like I haven't tried some of like the very popular like energy drinks. Actually, I don't drink any energy drinks. Clearly.
You never even tried?
No, dude.
I used to drink them a lot. Like when I was doing construction in my 20s.
Yeah.
I had like 3 cans a day.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And it was so bad for me.
So bad.
There was one called No Fear. So
never heard of it.
There was like a skull on it. And once you drink one, you literally start shaking because it was so strong. But I was doing a lot of physical work and you just sweat it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, man, this is so bad.
Yeah, so bad.
But then one day I'm like, you know what? This is not good for me.
No.
I think I might die young if I keep doing that.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
I stopped.
So that's, but from my understanding of a lot of these canned beverages is like, they all have this like underlying same flavor, just like one's like blackberry flavored, one's cherry flavored, one's peach flavored. And so it tastes like
very artificial.
Yeah. Very artificial with a splash of like peach or cherry or whatever it is.
Same syrup.
But
just a little bit.
Exactly.
Chemicals.
But with these, vastly different. Like, and so that's why some people
even
like
texture.
Texture, everything's going to be super different. So that's why it's like, if you hate one, I'm like, please try the others because they're different. They're different experiences. So you might like gravitate towards one. And again, there's some people who try all 3 and they're like, oh, I don't like it. And I'm like,
that happens.
And that happens. Exactly. I'm not offended by that whatsoever. I want people's genuine feedback. And sometimes they're just not ready for as clean of a beverage as this is. They love their Pepsi. They love their Coke. They love their whatever.
Get hooked on it.
And and they make those products addicting, as like a lot of those ingredients are addicting. And so you get hooked on it. And so it's like, if you're not used to the cleanliness of these products, and that's what a lot of people, like one of my one and only employee, he genuinely just did not really, he saw the vision, but he didn't really like the products at first. after about a month of basically of him just like constantly being around it and just constantly drinking them whenever we were meeting up, he's now like literally addicted to it. He like, I can't drink other stuff. He's like, keep giving me fresh Steves. And I'm like, yeah, man, like absolutely. You can have some fresh Steves. So it's been fun to like, even like watch him, and like, he's not doing it just because to like appease me.
He made a conscious decision to switch.
Yeah.
It just happened.
It just happened because he's like, it constantly kept, and he's like, now he understands the flavors. He understands what he's putting into his body. He doesn't drink energy drinks anymore. He's been doing that. And I'm like, awesome. And I didn't do that to him. I just, like I said, we would meet up. I'd be like, hey, you want some? He's like, yeah, absolutely. Have it. And then it just naturally over time, it just happens. And so that's where I'm like, it's not even just like, I'm fully believe in that power of that first sip, but what's going to happen after that 10th sip, after that, oh, now all of a sudden you're like, you get it. You understand the complexity of the flavors that you're putting in to your, it's cool. And that's what it's like. This is stuff that I don't really share ever with people. Because it's beyond like, it's like, it's a lot to understand. And they're like, what do you mean by all this? And I'm like, just try it. I was like, just experience it. Like, you don't have to worry about like all these things, but but in my mind, I'm like, that's what's going through my mind.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All these details and like how the ratios of everything, like the amount of hours I spent like figuring out the ratios of these teas and stuff. And again, that goes back to like, no one can ever compete with me in that regard. Cause it's 29 years of just like what I've poured into this. So
it's like listening to good music, right?
Right.
I don't have to be a musician to enjoy it. Like,
yes,
I could go to the concert and it's on and I just love it. And I don't know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
But if I would be like advanced musician, I'd be like, well, they're doing that and that just happened. You don't need to know all the secrets about the magic. You can just enjoy it.
Enjoy the music. Yeah. Enjoy the art. Enjoy the art.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or tea.
Yeah. Enjoy. And like it really is like it's an art form. Like, I think for me, it's how I've expressed my creativity is through this stuff too. That being said, I do enjoy like music and stuff like that too. Music is beautiful.
Do you have a musical abilities? Could you play guitar or something like that? Well, we have a long hair.
I know. Dude, everyone,
facial hair. You need to have a guitar.
Everyone just assumes I can just shred on the guitar. Yeah. No, I cannot. I know. The ukulele is something I picked up about like 6 or 7 years ago. And I've like mastered, like not even mastered. What am I saying? I've not mastered, but like 15 songs. I can just like
15 songs. That's a lot.
Yeah. And I just like constantly like repeat those same 15 songs. I have no idea what the strumming patterns, or not strumming patterns, the chords are that I'm playing. I don't know any of that.
How did you learn it?
Yeah, literally. So I would watch YouTube videos and I'd be like, okay, their fingers are on this string, and then I'd like play along like with, and I'm like, that sounds the same. Okay, move on to the next one. And just like constantly be like repeating all these different things until it just muscle memory. So now it's like, I can just do it. But if you were to be like, hey, Vince, play like an F sharp. I don't know what the hell that is. Like, I don't know how to do that.
I cannot play F sharp, but I could do this.
But I can do this. Yeah, but watch me, I can do this. So it's like, that's how I've learned. And like, I've told properly trained musicians, they're like, that's awful. And I'm like, it works for me. Maybe. I was like, maybe it's awful, but I'm like, I enjoy like my little music time. So I can do that. And I am kind of teaching myself guitar a little bit, cause I do have one. I was gifted it for Christmas 2 Christmases ago. And, I'd like again, talk about like the be-do have. In my mind, I love calling myself a musician. I'm not a musician though. And also I'm not really practicing to the level that I should be. Like I should be 10 minutes a day. That's all it takes. 10, 15 minutes a day. I don't do it.
You don't have 10, 15 minutes a day.
I do have 10, 15 minutes a day, bro. We all got 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. I still watch Netflix occasionally. So it's like, I still scroll on TikTok. I scroll on Instagram. Yeah, right. It's like, I got it. I got that time. But yeah, so it's like, that's a place where I can get better. Is I'd love to call myself a musician and actually feel like, cause I remember I went to Ireland once and they had an open mic, like musician open mic night. And it was a small town that I was in where the whole town shuts down and they all congregate at this one pub.
Okay.
And anybody can go up and just play an instrument, share a song, do something. And me, I don't know why I brought it on this trip, but I brought my ukulele on the trip.
You knew it. You did research like, yep, this is my moment.
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna go big in Ireland.
This is the worst part about this story is, so the friends that I made on that trip, they were all there. I was there by myself. So me and my buddy, we traveled together, but he was off doing his own thing for a wedding. I had 3 days to myself. So I made friends with some locals, with some other people traveling. And so we were all there and they knew that I had my ukulele. So they're like, play it. Yeah. Like play it in front of people. Now I've never played in front of people, like maybe like one other person, but like never like in front of, not granted.
Whole village.
Yeah. Yeah. Whole village, aka 20 people. And I chickened out. And I didn't do it. Oh, yeah. And to this day,
biggest regret, probably.
It's one of my biggest regrets, dude. It's like, what better opportunity to just go up and bomb like in front of like 20 Irish people who will never see you again. Well, and I just did. And yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have bombed. Like that's
they would clap. They would
they would
tried your best.
Exactly. Like they would have been, and like, more than half the room was drunk. Anyway, they would have not remembered it at all. So I like still to look back to this day. I'm like, you were such a pansy. Like, why didn't you do it?
It's not a big problem because you took your shot with the tea.
But exactly.
You know, it's been way worse because I think your tea background and knowledge is way more important to the world than your music abilities.
Who knows? Maybe that could have been that was like a fork in the road in my life. If I would have like absolutely just blown up in Irish music culture at that point.
Probably not. Probably not.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, it's like I look, and what I like about those, because that's not the only moment. I've got a few of those like regretful type moments in my life, as we all do. And what I like about those is they act as fuel for like when I'm presented an option to go make a fool out of myself for the first time.
Sure.
Do it. Why not? Like, why not? Like, go start a company, go do something, go say what up to that girl. Like just go do it. Like, because
dude, what worse could happen?
Exactly.
People like gonna laugh. Well, okay, they laugh and they're gonna forget about you.
Exactly. And so it's, like I said, it still hurts like in my gut to this day, but I'm like, no, just use it as fuel. Use it as fuel to go do the thing that you're afraid to.
Yeah. I was like, thanks for sharing. I think it's very inspirational.
Very inspirational.
Like for people who is watching right now, they're like thinking about doing something like, you see that guy regrets it. Like I should not be that situation the same like as him. I should do something like.
Just do it. It's so much fun. It's because again, the pain of the regret. Again, we all have it. We all have that thing. Whatever that thing is, like use that to just do the next thing, the next opportunity. And that's the beautiful thing of life. Constantly have opportunities. We constantly have opportunities to flex that muscle or to practice that, like doing a scary little thing. I would say daily we have an opportunity to go do
Life is scary. You have to step out and, I get scared a lot of times too.
All the time.
And it's scary, but I gotta go and do it.
You just have to. You have to, because we're going to die one day. Yeah. And why not? Literally, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. You brought your ukulele and you didn't go.
And I didn't even do. Now that being said, I will say a little redemption. I did play in a hostel with some like people. We did bring it out, and I was playing for like the 5 people in the hostel.
Okay.
And so I was like, that was a little bit of redemption. But it wasn't like on a stage like properly. I didn't have like background music and stuff like that. Yeah, it is what it is. That just makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't have music in me. Like, there's no way you can teach me ukulele or anything like that. I just don't have to do a thing in life. You have to like entrance ticket, like basic things. You have to be if you want to play music, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have certain abilities, or like you want to be a dancer, right? Mm-hmm. You have to have certain abilities in rhythm, you, like to enter. And then, hard work, showing up will do the magic for you. But if you don't have that entrance, characteristics, how they say it, then it's lost for you. Like you should pick something else.
Yeah. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think
you cannot make musician out of me. There's no way.
Yeah, if you really don't have that rhythm, like
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and
you know
that's
what I mean?
yeah. If you really do need,
or you want to be a painter, right? Like you want to be like you have to have certain mindset or like abilities with your hand to do it, right?
Yeah,
A certain level should be met to accomplish something, right?
Yes.
And if you don't have that, well, maybe you should do something else.
Yeah, maybe this isn't for you.
Yeah, like, because there is something for everyone. You know
but
what I mean?
I also firmly believe if you, in your mind, have the conviction that you can do it and you are going to give whatever it takes to be able to do it, I do believe that you can do it. But
music? Me? No. Like,
but that's because you don't have the conviction.
Yeah,
I think if you were determined,
I don't have something else.
maybe, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. Well, hypothetically though, if you were to have that thing, what instrument would you play?
Oh, I'll play guitar for sure.
Yeah, just acoustic
I will
guitar.
have
Just
hair like you do.
You already got. I was like, you got the hair.
Yeah, I would keep it longer.
Keep
like
it longer.
You, so
Yeah.
like, I'll have a guitar. I'm like, no.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, Vince, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.